Shalom and welcome back to Israel with Aline. Today we are in Gilgal, in the middle of the Judean desert, the site of one of the 5 giant footprints of Israel. Let's explore this impressive place and discover its connection with Joshua and with the Bible. So if you're ready, let's get started. Let's start by understanding where we are. We are 13 kilometers from Jericho and only 2 kilometers from the Jordan River. And here, in the middle of the Judean desert, a marking was found that looked like a giant footprint. Here, we can already see the outline of the giant footprint, and it is connected to the conquest of the Promised Land, to Joshua, to the Ark of the Covenant, and even to the manna. But the only way to see this footprint is from the sky. It is 169 meters long and 88 meters wide. And soon we'll understand how this footprint was formed and who made it. But let's start from the beginning. The people of Israel were slaves in Egypt for 400 years. After that, God, with a mighty hand, brought the people out of slavery by opening the Red Sea. The people then spent 40 years wandering in the desert. And finally, after 440 years, the people were able to enter the Promised Land under the leadership of Joshua. And this will happen in a very impressive way because the Jordan River will open and the people will enter. And Joshua, with all the people, set up their first camp in Gilgal, which is exactly where we are now. I mean, all around here, all the people of Israel settle. And as the Bible tells us, when they cross the Jordan River, Joshua takes 12 stones from the river and brings them here to build a monument. And the place of this monument exists to this day. Come with me to see Joshua's 12 stones. Let's go. And what was the reason for building this monument? I think the reason is beautiful. It has, at its core, an educational purpose, as it is written in this passage. And he spoke to the children of Israel, saying, when in the future your children ask their parents, saying, what do these stones mean? I will let your children know, saying, Israel crossed this Jordan on dry ground, because the Lord your God dried up the waters of the Jordan before you until you had crossed, just as the Lord your God did to the Red Sea, which he dried up before us until we had crossed. It has been more than 3,300 years since the time when Joshua built this monument, and because of that, much of it is unknown. We can clearly see where it was. There are still some stones here, but most of the monument has really disappeared over time. The Bible tells us that this is a place for educating children, and that's why I feel a little sad to see this place like this. So forgotten. Of all the times I've come here to Gilgal, only once have I seen a group passing by. But I've also decided that when Yair, my little son, gets a bit older, I will bring him here and show him this place and teach him the history of the people of Israel. And who knows, maybe in the future more people will also come to know and use this place as an educational and historical site. But this is not the only place here in Gilgal that we have. An altar of sacrifices was also found here, and it is right over there. So let's go together now to see the altar of sacrifices in Gilgal. Here we can clearly see this altar. Everyone, it's a round altar, which was not common for this region. It's an altar different from all the others. So I'm at the place of sacrifice, but no sacrifice is going to happen here now. And the question is, how do we know this was an altar of the people of Israel? Besides everything that was found around here, animal bones were found on the altar. And these bones were analyzed, and all of them were from kosher animals, meaning clean animals according to the Old Testament, the same type of animals that were later sacrificed in the Temple of Jerusalem and also in the tabernacle. And one interesting thing is that all the bones that were found here were from male animals. But how do we know all this? Because Professor Adam Zantal from the University of Haifa, he did archaeological excavations here, and he was the one who discovered this giant footprint. But he didn't just discover one, he actually found 5 footprints here in the region. Gilgal in Hebrew means a circle of stones. This here is a Gilgal. It's the first Gilgal that appears in the Bible, but we have others. Besides where we are, there is also Maswa, Yafit, Sha'ab, Romani, and the last one is called El Burnat. It's the Gilgal that appears in the Bible, which is next to Mount Ebal. And all of them have the shape of a footprint or a right foot sandal. But the big question is, why did they decide to make so many places in the shape of giant footprints more than 3,000 years ago? Guys, it's not a coincidence. If we said we found one place, someone could say it's a coincidence. But if you find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 footprints, and there's a basket that's also being discussed whether it's from the same period. So the question that won't go away is, why do they make it in this shape? And the answer is found in the Bible itself. The Bible clearly says that wherever your feet touch, wherever the sole of your foot touches, that will be your territory. Every place where the sole of your foot treads will be yours. From the desert, from Lebanon, from the river, the Euphrates River to the Western Sea will be your territory. And we also see this in Joshua 1. Moses, my servant, is dead. Arise, Joshua, now cross this Jordan, you and all these people, to the land that I am giving to the children of Israel. Every place where the sole of your foot treads, I have given to you, as I said to Moses. And that's why, when the people come in here, they place a giant footprint. And this represents that they are stepping on and taking possession of the land. Because after all, God promises this land to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to their descendants, Jacob, who is also known as Israel, and that's why the people of Israel are his descendants. And the footprint also symbolizes the foot of God, since the promised land is where he places his feet. And he said to me, Son of man, this is the place of my throne and the place for the soles of my feet, where I will dwell among the children of Israel forever. We also see in the Bible, in the book of Ruth, chapter 4, that when they go to exchange the land of the Redeemer, that is, they are now transferring the ownership of Naomi's land from one person to another. They are going to perform a ceremony with a shoe. So this appears several times in the Bible, and it also has an Egyptian origin, since the people had just left Egypt 40 years earlier. The Egyptians, when they wanted to show victory and power, showed the Pharaoh stepping on his enemies. We have several drawings in the tombs of pharaohs with their enemies at their feet. We also use expressions like this even today in Portuguese, like they are at his feet. And that's why here, when they want to represent the victory of the people of Israel and the victory of God, they use the symbol of the feet and this giant footprint. But the footprint doesn't end there. Come over here to the tip, to the heel of the foot, to see what's there. We are now at the heel. You can see here the end of the heel, and it has a double path that is 2 meters wide. Here we can clearly see this path, but what was it? Why is it here around the heel? This path is the path of the Levite priests. All of Gilgal was important for the 12 tribes of Israel, and within the 12 tribes there was the tribe of Levi. And within the tribe of Levi, there was a family, which was the Cohen family, who were descendants of Aaron, the brother of Moses, and they were chosen as the priests of the people of Israel. So they would walk this path here in a ritual biblical way, and this was done exactly at the heel, because that's where the Ark of the Covenant was kept. After it crossed the Jordan River, this would be its place. But how could the crowds watch these ceremonies? The sacrifices made at the altar, the ceremonies of the hill walk, how were they watched? You can see that behind me there's a large hill with steps that even look like bleachers. And that's exactly what this space was used for. Here the crowds could sit and look down and see everything that happened in this place. And this is also where an angel of the Lord appears to Joshua and says to him the following: "Take off your shoes, you're on sacred ground, you're on holy land." Once again, the connection of the feet with the earth and with the connection to God. And now our last question is, what does this place in the middle of the desert have to do with the end of the era of manna? Manna was the food sent by God that sustained the people of Israel during the 40 years in the desert. And after the desert, the people come here and become a free people in their own land, in the land that God promised them. And that's why they enter here in Gilgal, and it will be the first place where they will celebrate the Jewish Passover. So the people come here and celebrate Passover, and they will have the first wheat harvest, and then God stops sending the manna, because the manna was something necessary for the people to survive, to get through difficult times. And now that the people were in their own land, they could start putting down roots and not be dependent on God for the manna, but rather be dependent on all the land of Israel, which was the land given by God. So here in Gilgal, a new chapter in the history of the people of Israel begins. But Gilgal, from a place of blessing, will turn into a curse. Because after centuries in the promised land, some of the people will forget everything God did for them and stray from the right path. All their wickedness is found in Gilgal, because it was there that I hated them because of the evil of their deeds. I will cast them out of my house. I will love them no more, for all their princes are rebellious. Wow, look at these heavy passages, and there's also this one in the book of Amos. For thus says the Lord to the house of Israel, seek me and live, but do not seek Bethel, nor go to Gilgal, nor pass over to Beersheba. For Gilgal shall surely go into captivity, and Bethel shall come to nothing. So Gilgal was abandoned and forgotten for more than 2,000 years. And during that time, the people of Israel were exiled twice. But God, with love and mercy, brought the people back to their promised land. And today we can see the blessings upon this land. The land is being reborn after almost 2,000 years of exile. And Gilgal was rediscovered thanks to the archaeologist Adam Zental. And the feet of the people of Israel have returned to this giant footprint and to this place. I hope you enjoyed today's video and getting to know such important and at the same time so forgotten places. So let's remember the biblical stories here and teach them to the next generations as well. Kisses, and I'll see you next time.